JD from New York, 206. It's time for Off the Script. Big Show and Ryback, Strowman and Roman. Get off my fucking TV and save me the misery. And all you fucking goons, just grab a cold beer. The man of the hour is finally here. JD from New York, 206. It's time for Off the Script. JD from New York, 206. It's time for Off the Script.
What is going on, guys? JD from New York here. Thank you so much for tuning back into the channel. This is Off the Script, episode 170, part number 2 for your Saturday, May 20th, 2017. We got a lot to go over today, man, including this big story about CM Punk being offered $1 million, $1 million to come back and fight in a huge 128-man tournament for 5-star wrestling. We'll talk about that and give you my brief opinion on that. I know it's not going to happen, but it was a big story this week. We'll go over that, plus news about Braun Strowman, news on Adam Cole. I got news on she who shall not be named, Miss Redhead Bimbo. Sure you guys can piece the puzzle together on who that is. I got news on AJ Styles. I got news on Finn Balor and the Demon King. I got news on WWE's direction going into Great Balls of Fire. All this, plus so much more right here on Off the Script. I want to thank everybody for their love and support on yesterday's video. Thank you all so very much via the Patreon page and the comment section of yesterday's video. Off the Script 170 Part 1 live on the channel right now. Make sure you guys go and check that out. That will be in the annotation you see on the screen in front of you. So make sure you all go check that out after you view Part 2. Now, I do want to make mention of the fact that NXT TakeOver is tonight. I want to make sure you all are aware. I will be reviewing the show. Part 1 was about TakeOver Chicago and Backlash. Full preview and predictions, as always, the Friday before the pay-per-view on Off the Script. I will be reviewing TakeOver Chicago tonight, as soon as it goes off the air on the WWE Network. Should be a great show, should be a hot crowd, and the glorious Bobby Roode will be defending the NXT Championship against Hideo Itami. So I can't wait to see that. So tune into the channel after the show is off the air. I will have a review up hopefully by 11:30ish tonight, Eastern Standard Time. Follow me on Twitter at JDFROMNY206. As you guys know, I'm on there. We are nearing 20,000 followers on Twitter. Make sure you guys subscribe to the YouTube channel down below, JD from NY206 on YouTube.com, and hit that bell for the notification so that you guys are aware, if it's working, how YouTube just likes to fuck everybody over. Some days it's working, some days it's not, but the bell should make you aware of when I do upload a new video. So subscribe and hit the bell for all notifications. If you guys want to support the channel through the Patreon page, patreon.com/JD from NY206. A lot going on over there, man. There's a Q&A up for patrons only. I will, again, upload it to the forum or to the Patreon page when I can, because I think a lot of you guys actually missed it. Some of you seen it. Most of you missed it. But that went live on Tuesday. I will post another thread where you guys can ask me anything you want for Q&A number 2 for patrons, man. So make sure you guys go check that out. You also get exclusive rights to my Discord server. You guys can talk about anything you want in there. It is a family-centric atmosphere in the Team JD Discord. You guys get exclusive rights to that. And this weekend I'm taking the week off for early access, man, because I just got a lot on my mind right now, and I just want to take a break, man. I want to take a few steps back from, just doing the whole YouTube thing, man. I'm really not as invested in it right now for multiple reasons, but usually you guys get early access to pretty much everything that I upload, off the script. If there's an extra that's going to go up later in the week, you guys will get that early. So that should be good, man. Patreon.com/JD from NY206. I do want to start getting back into the gaming thing, man. I was watching the Destiny was watching the Destiny 2 coming attractions and the Destiny 2 live stream. I'm excited for it. I mean, it's pretty much the same game that we had for the last 3 years. But I'm excited to try the new subclasses out. I'm excited for the new missions. I'm excited for the new weapons, the new raid. It should be good, man. They're making small, subtle changes, making the game better, and I'm excited for that. And I can't wait to try that out, man. I think Destiny 2 is going to get me right back into gaming because Destiny 1, it really got me back into a lot of things, man. It got me back into playing with the guys. It got me back into just, focusing all my attention on that and just kind of leaving everything at the door, So I'm hoping Destiny 2 can do that, and I'm very excited about that. Coming this September, I believe. So, again, I can't wait. But I did see it. I'm excited for it. It might get me back into streaming as well. I've just been lazy with a lot of things, but hopefully everything falls into place and we get right back on track here with the channel, doing the mix of the gaming and the WWE stuff. So look forward to all that. I'll keep you guys afloat of all that stuff. Another great way to support the channel, besides the Patreon, patreon.com/JD206, is Audible. Audible is offering you guys 30 days free of their service with one free audio book of your choice, over 180,000 books to choose from. And no matter what you guys do, man, if you want to sign up within the 30 days and then immediately cancel, you get to keep your audio book for free. AJ Lee's new book is getting rave reviews, man. You got Crazy is My Superpower. You got the pre-order for Justin Roberts' new book. You got Daniel Bryan's book, Shawn Michaels' book. You got Brock Lesnar, Dusty Rhodes, Roddy Piper, The Death of WCW, Bob Holly. It's all on there, man. So if you guys want to go check that out, you can even pre-order, I believe, Jim Ross's new book, which is coming out in October. So if you guys want to go check that out, audibletrial.com/offthescript, compatible with iPhone and Android devices. And you get to keep your book even if you cancel the service, man, if you don't want to sign on. So it's a great, great, great way to show love to the podcast and the channel. And my friends over at Audible really, really appreciate it, man. So audibletrial.com/offthescript. Also, if you guys want to get your t-shirts, man, barbershopwindow.com/offthescript. Roman Reigns, Get Off My TV. Eva Marie is Get Off My TV. Dana Brooke is Get Off My TV. The Big Show is Get Off My TV. We even have a Get Off My TV hit list t-shirt because Lucille is hungry, man. So make sure you guys go and check that out. barbershopwindow.com/offthescript. We are an official partner of Barbershop Window and Pro Wrestling Tees. No matter where you are, you get your t-shirt $19.99, and they are of excellent quality. So thank you guys so very much for all of that. I did want to review the UK special that we seen yesterday. Pete Dunne defeated, who the fuck did he fight? I forgot who he fought, man. Who was it? Trent Seven? I think it was Trent Seven. I seen it twice yesterday. I actually watched it twice. Pete Dunne beat Trent Seven. You had Mark Andrews versus Tyler Bate for the UK Championship. You had some of the 205 Live guys there. Jim Ross did a fantastic job, as always, with the play-by-play. I think I will review it eventually. I want to go back and really take some detailed notes. I just watched it primarily as a fan yesterday. The crowd wasn't as hot as it was for the UK tournament, but all in all, it was a very, very good show. Very entertaining for 2 hours. I will be doing a review eventually on that, so make sure you guys look forward to that, okay? So I don't want to get too much into detail of it here. Some of you might not even realize it took place yesterday, but it was a very, very good show, and we will discuss that eventually right here on an Off the Script Extra sometime next week. So I just want to make sure you guys are aware of that as well. Moving on, man. Let's talk about this CM Punk story. CM Punk offered $1 million to return to professional wrestling for a huge tournament. 128-man tournament for 5-star wrestling. Punk, as you guys know, quit professional wrestling in 2014. He walked out on the WWE following the Royal Rumble that year, and who can blame him? The way he was eliminated is bullshit. He sat out his contract and then signed a deal to fight in the UFC in a match that he lost big time to Mickey Gall. Now, reports are that a professional wrestling company in the United Kingdom wants to lure CM Punk out of retirement, and they have offered him $1 million to come and compete in a huge 128-man tournament that will kick off next month. The promotion is called 5-Star Wrestling, and the news comes straight from the promoter of the company, Daniel Hinkles. According to Hinkles, he has been trying to get the offer to CM Punk through friends in the industry and been trying to contact him by other means about the wrestling tournament. And I quote, this is from Daniel Hinkles himself. I've gone through his website and sent dozens of emails, but the opportunity has never been this big. We want to offer CM Punk $1 million to come and join 5-Star Wrestling starting June 10th. Hinkles also said that the CM Punk contract offer is genuine and that they just want to hear back from Punk himself. He said that his company wants to work with him. Hinkles said that signing CM Punk to compete in the tournament would legitimize it because there isn't anyone more credible than CM Punk. The move to try and sign Punk, even for as much as $1 million, is a good business move. On a recent episode of the Wrestling Observer Radio, WWE insider Dave Meltzer said that there was a period where CM Punk was actually selling more merchandise than John Cena. And the reason why I don't take into consideration Roman Reigns being the number one, because I don't believe it. I really don't. The reason why I don't is because, they always push Roman Reigns. There's nobody else but Roman Reigns. And the only other one besides Roman Reigns is John Cena. John Cena is still the face of the WWE, whether he is part-time, whether he is away 6 months out of the year. He is still the face of the WWE. Roman Reigns is not. You can't tout Roman Reigns as being the number one merchandise guy in the WWE when the real face of the company is not even there. Because if John Cena was there, he would be number one. And I am still 100% positive that John Cena is number one, even to this day. So even if they want to tout Roman Reigns because he's on television, he's the big dog, I still believe John Cena is the number one guy, even though he is away from WWE television right now. The reason why this is so big, and this is a real eye-opener, is because when John Cena was there and CM Punk was there at the same time, they were both full-time. Punk did it on his own. Punk got himself over. Punk outdrew John Cena when they were both full-time stars. So you can't really compare that to Roman Reigns because Roman Reigns is not really going through that with anybody. He doesn't have anybody to even compete with him. The only other man to compete with him is who? Randy Orton? AJ Styles? WWE's really not going to tout any of those guys. They're going to tout the guy that they're pushing down everybody's throat, Roman Reigns. Roman Reigns doesn't have John Cena to compete with on a nightly basis. Punk was competing with John Cena without a brand split. They were all Universal under the same umbrella. That's why it makes people open up a lot of eyes. Well, CM Punk sold more merchandise than John Cena. Yeah, that is big. That's how big he was. And WWE dropped the ball with him. I don't know why they never seen anything in CM Punk, but that's another story for a different day. We talked about that till we're blue in the face on this fucking channel. CM Punk could have been the face of the WWE. They just didn't want to do it because they were afraid they were going against what they fully believe in. How can this outsider, how can this indie guy, how can this guy who got himself over to be this big be the face of the company? This is not what we had planned. This is not what was in our cards. So they didn't want it. WWE controls what happens on television, and they controlled who they wanted as the face of the company. It was not John Cena. So they did everything in their power to just shaft and cut down CM Punk. It's the truth. Now, speaking of the merchandise, Forbes, WWE, according to Forbes, is touting Roman Reigns as their number one merchandise seller for full-time stars. That designation was put in place to claim Roman Reigns sells more merchandise than anyone else in the WWE, but he still sells much less merchandise than John Cena. Told you. Who the WWE moved to the part-time star club to make their new claim. Punk at the time surpassed John Cena in merchandise sales. He did it legitimately as a full-time star alongside John Cena. Outside of CM Punk, nobody has even come close to John Cena except possibly Daniel Bryan and now Roman Reigns. Daniel Hinkle said that he is reaching out to CM Punk for a monster contract because that is what the fans of his promotion want. He said that he asked who they wanted to see in the tournament and CM Punk was on everybody's wish list. Hinkles also said that he knows CM Punk is focused on MMA right now, but hopes the $1 million offer will at least make him consider it. And I quote, "We all know that if he ever wants to come back to wrestling, it will be one of those epic moments. I want that to be 5-star wrestling right here in the UK. A common saying in the wrestling world is that the UK has the best fans. Well, how about we give them the biggest moments as well? After CM Punk left the WWE, he started working on passion projects that he's always dreamed about. He wrote some comic books for Marvel, specifically one about Guardians of the Galaxy member Drax, something that Batista said he read while taking on the role of Drax in the Marvel movies. CM Punk also got his chance to fight in the UFC, although he did not fare so well in that endeavor. He lost to Mickey Gall in just 2 minutes and 14 seconds. After submitting to a rear naked chokehold, CM Punk said he wants to train more in return, but UFC President Dana White said that it is unlikely to happen under the UFC. White did add that he would talk to Punk about it in the future. The 5-star wrestling tournament begins in Liverpool on June 10th. John Morrison, Rey Mysterio Jr., Carlito, Magnus, and more have been advertised as taking part in this huge 128-man tournament. CM Punk would surely be the biggest name in the event if he took the $1 million offer. Punk is not returning to wrestling, number one, because he's under contract to UFC. Even if he was not under contract to UFC, I do not think Punk would take the $1 million because we all kind of know Punk is set in his ways. AJ Lee even said it on the Sam Roberts podcast. He does not miss wrestling. AJ, to an extent, misses wrestling. She cannot say the same about her husband. If CM Punk ever returned to the WWE, it would be with the WWE only. Let me rephrase that. If Punk ever returned to wrestling, it would be with the WWE. I just don't see that happening right now. Who knows what the future might hold. But the reason why this was done was because this guy knows CM Punk is going to be a insurmountable fucking task to get into this tournament. He figured, you know what? Let me throw $1 million at him. What could it do? It can't do anything negative to me. It can only have positive. You know, it could only resonate positively in the indie scene. And just look at it this way. You know, Punk might not take the $1 million offer, but it got people talking. This guy's offer of $1 million got people talking about 5-star wrestling. They got people talking about this 128-man tournament. So it got his company, his name, and what he's doing out into the limelight, into the public eye. If there's any takeaway from that, that's the big takeaway. You might not get Punk, but at least you made the headlines for a week regarding this story, and now people are aware of what you're doing. Simple as that. Punk offered $1 million to return to professional wrestling. He's not coming back at all. He will return to wrestling. I do believe he will return to wrestling in the future, and if it does happen to be wrestling again, it will be with the WWE. No question. Absolutely no question. TNA should be throwing $1 million at CM Punk when his contract's up with UFC because that's the only reason, that's the only way they would get any traction with their company. Because right now, you know, a Del Rio and a Bobby Lashley and an EC3 and a James Storm, they ain't going nowhere with that. They need a solid headliner, which they don't have. If Impact Wrestling and Anthem was smart, they'd throw more than $1 million at CM Punk come in. But again, would he take it? Probably not. If he comes back to wrestling, it will be with the WWE. Major update on the favorite to compete against Brock Lesnar at Great Balls of Fire. On WWE Raw, it was announced that a 5-way match at Extreme Rules would determine who the number one contender is against Brock Lesnar at Great Balls of Fire. This shift in planning was due to Braun Strowman's injury being more severe than expected, as 4 to 8 week timeline was moved to 6 months. But we will have a story on that in this very episode. It is not 6 months. WWE is trolling you. Shortly before this match announcement, Finn Balor and Seth Rollins were in a triple threat match with The Miz to determine the number one contender for the Intercontinental Championship. That was the best main event of Monday Night Raw all year. Although both men lost to The Miz, they now have the chance to become the WWE Universal Champion. Seemingly, WWE was put in a place where they had to put a few different feuds together to create a new number one contender for Brock Lesnar. Based on these candidates, new information has been released regarding who the frontrunners are to compete against Lesnar in July. Now, according to the Wrestling Observer newsletter this week, the favorites are Seth Rollins and Finn Balor. The idea with Roman Reigns at the moment is that WWE is still planning on holding him off of the Universal Championship title picture until the showdown with Lesnar in New Orleans at WrestleMania 34. This is expected to create an ever great big fight feel for the event. And you guys know how I feel about that. I'm going to reiterate this again. Moreover, since there is still unfinished business left between the two following their match in Santa Clara, California at WrestleMania 31, this leaves Seth Rollins, Samoa Joe, Finn Balor, and Bray Wyatt. The feud between Rollins is expected to stretch out further, which would cancel out both men of them being contenders. Bray Wyatt once teased feuding with Lesnar, but those plans never fully developed, as Wyatt suffered an injury shortly after the angle commenced. Since appearing on Raw after the Superstar Shakeup, Wyatt has been stalking Finn Balor, making him a new target to annihilate. Now, while both Rollins and Joe, Balor and Wyatt feuds could pick back up after Great Balls of Fire or even conclude before the event, Raw is in need of a top babyface outside of Reigns to fill the vacant spot against Lesnar. Although Strowman is not a babyface, but he was still going to compete against Lesnar, he is the exception to the rule, as people were looking forward to more of a King Kong vs. Godzilla feel that the match would represent. WWE has been putting on a great emphasis on Finn Balor, so much that the WWE Network featured a 24 special on him, which documented his road from suffering a shoulder injury against Seth Rollins at SummerSlam to returning from injury on Raw after WrestleMania, which was a great documentary. I watched it twice. I highly, highly recommend you guys go out and watch it. Very, very good show. Nobody does the documentaries better than WWE, man. Fucking fantastic. Although Balor and Rollins are both the top favorites to face Lesnar, fans have yet to experience a Lesnar vs. Balor showdown. Interestingly, one of the biggest pushbacks about this match is that Lesnar is considerably larger than Balor. However, despite this, when Balor appeared on Raw and said he wanted to face Lesnar, he received a resounding ovation from the live audience, pretty much affirming his decision to face the Beast. Ultimately, whoever will be placed in the position of number one contender at Great Balls of Fire will most likely be placeholder to make Lesnar look even stronger against Roman Reigns. For Reigns, despite the negative fan reaction, WWE is continuing to heavily invest in him. On top of main eventing WrestleMania events for the last 3 straight years versus Lesnar, Triple H, The Undertaker, respectively. Reigns was responsible for being the sole current full-time competitor who was able to defeat The Undertaker at WrestleMania. It is unknown whether WWE will decide to keep the title on Lesnar until next year's WrestleMania. However, with the gap in time he competes, it does not seem as if the idea is too far-fetched. Now, this is one of the biggest talking points in WWE right now, okay? As far as Extreme Rules goes, I already gave you my opinion on this. I think, in my personal opinion, the way WWE should go about this is to accelerate the feud with Roman Reigns and Brock Lesnar. I say have Roman Reigns win the number one contendership and have Roman Reigns face Brock Lesnar at Great Balls of Fire. That's what I think should happen. Now, I don't think WWE putting the title on Brock Lesnar right now after WrestleMania was such a good idea. When it happened last time, it for some odd reason it worked. It really worked. You had Rollins in the mix, you had Cena in the mix. It felt right. It felt right then, you know? Because there was clearly unfinished business with the way John Cena was destroyed at SummerSlam. So you always had that looming. You knew John Cena was going to come back and get another title shot. You knew John Cena was going to come back and get revenge or try to get redemption at some point. Rollins was also in that mix as well. Rollins was also there as well. And we got that great triple threat match at the Royal Rumble that following year. That was a great match. And then we got the Roman Reigns winning the Royal Rumble. Roman Reigns fighting Brock Lesnar at WrestleMania 31, which ended up being a great match. It took everybody by surprise, including me. That was a great main event. Times were different then. Okay? Roman Reigns then compared to Roman Reigns now, and the landscape of WWE then compared to the landscape of WWE now is completely different. This time, it just feels forced. This time, WWE, you know they want Roman Reigns to slay the Beast. This time, you know they want Roman Reigns as the Universal Champion. Then, it was a back and forth discussion. They wanted it, but then they were worried about the fan reaction. They wanted it, but Seth Rollins was the better man. They wanted it, but they had the Money in the Bank briefcase, which they figured, you know what, let's make an epic WrestleMania moment here. They went with that. There were more variables there compared to what there are now. That's why I say, Brock Lesnar with the Universal Championship and him holding it till WrestleMania, you're handcuffing the entire main event landscape on Monday Night Raw for the entire year. The entire year. You know? There wasn't as many main event guys then as there are now. Look at the landscape of Monday Night Raw. Look at the landscape of how many main event guys there are, even with Strowman out for the Universal Championship. You're handcuffing a lot of those guys. Unless you are going to really make the Intercontinental Championship the WWE Championship-like title that it should be, then I don't understand why you're holding the title hostage. I really don't get it. Nobody wants to see that title held hostage. It is a different landscape now. WWE does not need to have Brock Lesnar hold the title till WrestleMania because we all know what their plan is. Their plan always revolves around Roman Reigns. Why not do it now? I don't get it. Strowman is not there. Strowman will be back, but Strowman is not there right now. Whether he's out 8 weeks or 6 months, it doesn't matter. Strowman is not there. Roman took out Strowman. To me, that makes Roman, listen, I took out the one guy who was on his way to getting a title shot. I'm the man in line now. I'm the man in line. So do that match at Great Balls of Fire. Have Roman go through Joe, Rollins, Wyatt, and Balor. Book the match for Great Balls of Fire. Have some type of interruption. Have some type of interference. Maybe Balor interferes because he feels slighted. He feels like he should be getting a title shot regardless, outside of this fatal 5-way. Have it be a screw job. And then book the rematch with Reigns and Lesnar then at SummerSlam. That's what I do. At least you get the title on Reigns. You give us what you're going to give us anyway. You accelerate that. It's inevitable that Roman Reigns is getting the title. Do it at SummerSlam, being that it's the second biggest pay-per-view of the year. That way, the title is on Raw, and Roman can go through Balor, Roman can go through Rollins, Roman can go through Joe, and at least build that title up as an important piece on Monday Night Raw. And I'm speaking like, I want this to happen. JD, you want Roman to be the champion? JD, you want Roman to be slaying all these guys? Listen, Braun Strowman is the best thing on Monday Night Raw. Braun Strowman, when he comes back, is going to be placed right where he left off. Roman and Strowman is a money match, and they're going to be colliding once again. They're going to be headed for a collision once again. There would be no better joy to me than to see Braun Strowman take the title off Roman Reigns. Now, I do want to see eventually Braun Strowman versus Brock Lesnar. I do. I think that creates massive intrigue. But you got to book the show without Braun Strowman in mind. You worry about Strowman when Strowman comes back. Okay? Right now, you got to work with the pieces that are in front of you. Roman wins the title from Brock Lesnar. Now, you don't wait till WrestleMania. I don't want to see a Finn Balor versus a Brock Lesnar. I don't care. The David versus Goliath match is always intriguing to me, but there's a reason why I opted for Daniel Bryan versus Brock Lesnar instead of Finn Balor versus Brock Lesnar. It was a different situation. It was a different situation. Okay? Balor is 205 pounds. Probably even less than that. I don't see anything that Finn Balor can do. I don't see anything in Finn Balor's arsenal that is going to really make me a believer that the match should be happening. It is way too different. Way too different. It's not interesting to me. There's nothing in Finn Balor's offensive arsenal that's going to make me believe he can beat Brock Lesnar. It's a waste. It's a fucking waste. Okay? It worked with Punk. It worked with Bryan. Or it could have worked with Bryan. We didn't get the opportunity to see it with Bryan. It would have been the same thing as CM Punk. Okay? But this is Finn Balor we're talking about. I'm not going to complain if we see it. I just don't understand why WWE would do it. Now, if you want to book this situation with Balor and Rollins and make it a triple threat, that's a little bit more believable to me. Because at least you'll have Lesnar versus two men instead of one, Finn Balor, who's 190 pounds. You know, at least you got Rollins in there to mix it up. At least you'll throw Brock Lesnar off guard with two instead of just putting him in there with somebody who realistically he can snap in half anytime he wants. That WWE could realistically do. We could see, you know, a Seth Rollins, Finn Balor, Brock Lesnar triple threat at SummerSlam. But we have to see what happens. I would book Roman Reigns. I would have Roman fight him at Great Balls of Fire. I would have Roman, you know, somehow, you know, be thwarted of the title then. And I would have Roman Reigns beat him at SummerSlam. And I would book Roman versus Strowman in mind for the end of the year with the Universal Championship on the line. Where that leaves Brock Lesnar, I don't know. Maybe you could do Lesnar versus Strowman at WrestleMania. Doesn't necessarily need to be at SummerSlam. I don't want to see Roman versus Brock Lesnar at WrestleMania again. It was special the first time. This time it's not going to be special. If that's what you're waiting for, it's not going to be special this time around because we know the inevitability is there. Roman is going to take the title off Lesnar. You might as well just fucking end our misery now and do it now. Eventually, we will see Lesnar versus Strowman. To me, you could do that at WrestleMania instead. I'd much rather see Roman versus a Finn or Roman versus a Joe. Something. But Lesnar? No. I don't want to see that. So I think Roman versus Lesnar now is the way to go. Roman is my favorite. I don't see how Roman doesn't win that match. I really don't. After he took out Strowman, how do you book him to not win that match? That's the way that they should go. But WWE at this point, I don't even know what they want to do. Taking the title off Lesnar right now is probably the best thing for them. It really is. Whether he has one title defense or none, I don't give a shit. He should not be holding the Universal Championship. That's just me. Let me know what you guys are thinking about that. I am stuck in my ways on that. I think Roman is the way to go. I really think Roman is the way to go here. And you're not going to convince me otherwise. Braun Strowman. His injury, speaking of Strowman. It's a work. And we discussed this already. WWE rumors suggest return date may be sooner than expected. Now, Braun Strowman's injury seemed to have completely caused chaos as far as WWE plans go for the Universal Championship and Raw over the next few months. At first, it seemed like Braun Strowman was facing 6 to 8 weeks after suffering an elbow injury. But on Monday, however, WWE suggested that when Strowman went under the knife to repair the damaged joint last week, it turned out his elbow was shattered and that he was looking at up to 6 months on the injured list. Since Strowman was the presumptive number one contender for Brock Lesnar's Universal Championship, that seemed to have thrown WWE and the plans completely into chaos. Lesnar is set to have his first title defense at Great Balls of Fire in July, where Strowman was considered his likely opponent before the news of his injury broke. Now, you guys know of the Fatal 5-Way Kurt Angle booked for Extreme Rules. Balor, Rollins, Joe, Wyatt, Reigns to face Lesnar at Great Balls of Fire. But the latest WWE rumors suggest that Strowman's injury might not keep him out of action as long as WWE claimed on its own website. According to Cage Side Seats, multiple sources have claimed that the injury, while legitimate, will not keep Strowman out for 6 months, and that time frame is seemingly a work. Instead, his return date is around 2 months, as originally suggested. While this still rules out the likelihood of Strowman getting involved in the title match at Great Balls of Fire, that time frame puts him in line to be healthy to face the Universal Champion at SummerSlam in August. Given the obvious fan interest in a showdown between Lesnar and Strowman based on crowd reaction and online reaction, it follows that Lesnar would likely retain the title at Great Balls of Fire no matter who he fights, and goes on to face Strowman at SummerSlam. Of course, since this is nothing but rumor right now, please take this with a grain of salt. Now, I already discussed this with you. I just wanted to reiterate that Strowman is not going to be out 6 months, and that Strowman is going to be out 2 months. But even then, I would not book Strowman versus Lesnar at SummerSlam. I would not. I would do Reigns versus Lesnar at SummerSlam. Okay? You can easily book. Now, I'm probably going to sound like a hypocrite here. Well, JD, if you can't see Finn Balor versus Brock Lesnar, how could you see Finn Balor versus Braun Strowman? I would much rather have it make sense where Finn Balor feels slighted as a number one contender, right? He didn't get his fair shot. You know, he had to be put in a fatal five-way. Listen, I never lost my match. I want my one-on-one rematch against whoever the fucking champion is. You know, when Braun Strowman comes back, he's going to stake claim to being the number one contender. Why don't you do Strowman versus Finn Balor at SummerSlam? I would much rather have that determine a number one contender moving forward than anything. At least then, you'll have a number one contender lined up. Reigns can beat Lesnar, and then we can revisit Strowman versus Reigns again. That's what I do. That's what I would do. I don't know what Joe... Listen. You could do Reigns versus Lesnar at SummerSlam. You can do Balor versus Strowman. Okay? And make those your top two matches coming out of Monday Night Raw. Seriously. I don't know what else you would do, but I like that idea better than whatever WWE else has got planned. Strowman versus Lesnar right now, you know, like I said, you got to book with plans in mind with Strowman not being there. You worry about Strowman when he comes back. By that time, the plans will be accelerated. WWE will be in full motion towards SummerSlam. So Strowman's going to have to take a back seat for now and then kind of get right back into the thick of things when all of this SummerSlam nonsense is over with. I'm sticking to my guns on that, man. I really am. I think Lesnar and Reigns needs to happen now, not at WrestleMania. The inevitable is going to happen. Just speed it up a little bit. As far as WWE rumors concerned, elsewhere, Scott Hall was apparently taken to the hospital over the weekend following an appearance at an independent show in the UK. The hospital released him, but he apparently flew home despite doctor's orders to the contrary. Hall hasn't posted on his Twitter account, which is usually very active, since May 11. Injury news in New Japan as well. Hiroshi Tanahashi suffered a problem on the night of War of the Worlds, which New Japan promotes with Ring of Honor in the U.S. It seems as though Tanahashi suffered an injury to his bicep. He is also scheduled to face Naito for the IWGP Intercontinental Championship at Dominion on June 11th, which I'm thinking about actually watching and subscribing to the New Japan World. In a rematch from their Wrestle Kingdom 11 match, if he's healthy, is likely to compete in the G1 Climax, which begins in mid-July. Lastly, the women's tournament is expected to take place later this year, July 13th and 14th. WWE even hyped it up again on NXT this week. The live finale is going to take place on August 29th. As far as WWE fans are going, with August and SummerSlam just right around the corner, this could be the time that Braun Strowman steps up and claims the championship at the second biggest show of the year after recovering from injury, despite WWE suggesting otherwise on the time frame. You guys know about all that. I'm not going to talk about it again in this video, so we'll see what happens with SummerSlam, Braun Strowman, and these plans for Monday Night Raw. They are very, very interesting. I don't know what's going to happen. You guys know how I feel about it. Let me know what you guys think down below, okay? Adam Cole, I expect to be at Takeover tonight at Ring of Honor's War of the Worlds pay-per-view. Adam Cole had a bit of a rough night. Now, not only did he lose his match to Tanahashi, but he soon found himself kicked out, literally, by the Young Bucks, kicked out of the Bullet Club. For many, this could mean only one thing. Adam Cole, baby, is on his way to NXT. It seemed like a sure thing, at least at the time being. One night after the Young Bucks removed Cole from the Bullet Club, he showed up at an IWC event and announced he'll be competing in their Super Indie Tournament, which is on June 10th. So what does this exactly mean? One important thing to note is that WWE has been far more lenient in letting their wrestlers fulfill their indie dates before joining the company. The Hardys both got to work multiple shows before being exclusive members of their roster. In fact, they worked an IWC show. They worked a House of Hardcore show as well. The same might be happening with Adam Cole right now. It's possible he signed to join the tournament a while ago and will work the event under some sort of WWE deal. Or he really may be testing the free agent waters and pursuing other avenues. The one thing that does seem likely is that he is done with Ring of Honor. Now, according to Mike Johnson and PW Insider, Cole has actually been a free agent since May 1st. He may now be picking up a couple of dates at different promotions before settling in WWE, which appears to have been the goal for some time, as he revealed in November. And this is what I quote. He said in November, "If I was to tell you that I don't want to have a WrestleMania moment someday, I would 100% be lying to you. I see that for myself one day, but timing is so important in a career like this. Honest to God, I'm not even thinking about WWE right now. That was back in November. I'm focused totally on the next few months with my Ring of Honor contract and with New Japan Pro Wrestling. And when it comes time to think about what happens next, a lot of options will be weighed out. End quote. If Cole does not sign with WWE, or he might have signed already, who the fuck knows? It's likely he'll have to start out in NXT. And actually, he said he wants to start out in NXT. And I got a story on AJ Styles about NXT. While he is a favorite on the indie scene, he is certainly one of the more popular ones. He certainly has his fair share of followers. The 27-year-old is still nowhere near the level of a Samoa Joe or Finn Balor or Nakamura, who have come into NXT, like Adam Cole is rumored to be. All who had substantial amount of time in the developmental territory. Only rare instances like AJ Styles is someone allowed to jump right to the main roster. While the move to NXT might have been a bit of a downer for fans wanting him to immediately move to Monday or Tuesday nights, Cole himself expressed in an ESPN interview that he'd actually prefer NXT. And I quote, "I want to start NXT because, first of all, I am a huge fan of NXT. I think the brand is cool. I think the Takeover shows are awesome. I think the fans are great. I love the roster of guys. I think it's something that's going to be looked at as a very special time of pro wrestling, so I want to be a part of it." The big question now is if Cole will show up on WWE TV on Saturday. Lucky for him, TakeOver Chicago is taking place on Saturday night. Triple H loves to debut wrestlers at the events, as Bobby Roode and Drew McIntyre both made their debut return by sitting in the crowd at one of their shows. Having Cole appear would certainly give the brand more buzz and set him up to be a major player for the foreseeable future for NXT. He could then work the IWC tournament in June, and return to full-time duty. Or maybe he's already signed, or maybe he's already to join the biggest player in the industry quite yet, or he might not join the NXT brand quite yet. We should know a little bit more about this at the end of the night, but this certainly has been an intriguing development as far as Adam Cole goes. My opinion does not change whatsoever. Adam Cole will be at NXT TakeOver Chicago tonight in the crowd, and the internet will break. That's my opinion on that. Adam Cole, regardless of what he's doing now, Adam Cole's coming into WWE. 100% Adam Cole's coming into NXT. I don't care what he's doing. I don't care where he is. He might not be there tonight. If he's not there tonight, it doesn't mean he's not coming. Adam Cole will be at NXT. Mark my words. There's no other place he wants to go. He's 27 years old. Strike while the iron's hot. 27 years old. He's got a whole fucking career ahead of him. Get yourself situated now in NXT where they can make you the biggest star of your career. And then by the time you're 30, you got all that time to hit the main roster and be one of WWE's biggest stars. That's what's going to happen. Adam Cole is going to be joining NXT. I think I went over this already. I think I went over this AJ Styles thing about him loving NXT and him actually being jealous of NXT. If I did it already, I apologize, but I want to kind of bleed into this just to show you guys how important it is, not only for Adam Cole to be in NXT, but for everybody else who is thinking about coming into WWE to be a part of NXT. And that includes the Kenny Omegas and the Young Bucks and guys of that caliber, okay? Drew McIntyre could be on Monday Night Raw or SmackDown. What is he doing in NXT? Because they need to get him familiar with the way things are done in WWE. Times have changed. Faces have changed. Situations have changed. The landscape has changed. Drew McIntyre could be a fucking world champion on either brand. But he's down in NXT because that's what it takes to once again be a major star in WWE. You have to go through NXT. AJ Styles said he wishes he could do it backwards and go through NXT. If he had to do it all over again, he'd go back to NXT. AJ Styles was recently interviewed by Inside the Ropes before WWE's live event in Scotland. This was last week, I believe. AJ spoke on a wide variety of topics, like his current relationship with Vince McMahon and his reaction to the retirement of The Undertaker. He also explained during an interview why he is jealous of NXT stars and anyone that gets to go through NXT's developmental system. This is what he had to say, and I quote, "I gotta tell you, I'm very jealous of the performers who've come up through NXT. They are like family. They know each other by their given names, their birth names. And so when they talk about each other, I'm like, who the hell is that? Who are you talking to? So I'm like, don't call them by their birth name, call them by their given WWE name. So I'm jealous of that. They have a family atmosphere. That's a great thing, not only for the industry, but for NXT. He continued on, and I've said this also back when, years and years ago, there were people getting stabbed in the back so others can climb to the top. That's not the way it's done in NXT, because you can actually care about the guy across from you. You know them. You know what they went through. You see them train. You see how hard they work. You see the passion for each other and love, man. So you see them and want them to do well. They love each other, and I think that's the most important thing in WWE right now. I've seen guys work so hard together because they love each other like family. They see how hard each other has worked through NXT and made their way finally to the main roster. I think that's really important. For WWE alone, when you got some of the guys I care about most in this business, my best friends are the guys I have the best matches with. That hopefully never changes in WWE because of NXT. If AJ Styles is saying that holds its weight, man. And that is a determining factor for everybody to come into NXT. If AJ Styles is saying that, where do you think Kenny Omega is going to end up? Kenny Omega is going to run through NXT. Might not be down there for long. He might do a 6-month stint. But he is coming. He is going to run through NXT. Because that's what needs to be done. AJ Styles is saying that about NXT, man. You take that, and you take that with a lot of validity, okay? Now, moving on here, I got a cool story about Eric Bischoff and John Morrison. Being that Eric Bischoff signed me onto the IRW network, which is coming in 2 weeks on June 1st. Johnny Mundo, John Morrison, was recently interviewed by Eric Bischoff on his podcast, Bischoff on Wrestling. The duo spoke on a wide variety of topics about the wrestling world in their careers in the wrestling business. One of the topics that came up during the podcast was their response to the question, how do you make wrestling cool again? Here's Bischoff's take on it. The fact is, you can't force that. It does have to happen organically. Certain things have to go along with that. There has to be certain opportunities and investments. All that kind of thing. It's really interesting to me. Right now, at this stage in my career, you start to see Wrestle Circus and other independent promotions really emerging with a cool factor. All of their own. That's completely all of their own. It's very organic. It's very cool factor as opposed to a cookie cutter cool factor. This is what Johnny Mundo had to say. This may or may not be what it is, but I think that part of it is the classification of wrestling as an art, as opposed to people thinking wrestling is real or predetermined. Then MMA came along, and wrestling now kind of just exists in the WWE. They've been the only game in town. With this new classification of wrestling as art, it opens the door to make wrestling cool again. Make it something that can be appreciated on a different level. I think you're right, too. If anyone forces it to be cool, that's not how it works. This is what I said when I did the Randy Orton video about the independents and Randy Orton trolling everybody about, the flips and the dives and, independent wrestling being the same shit. And it's all choreographed bullshit. To me, and I stand behind that, I think independent wrestling is making wrestling cool again. Some people think wrestling is dying. In certain parts of the world, wrestling is far from dead, man. It might be dead in the United States because of just the lackluster bullshit that we're getting. But look at the crowd turnouts for Ring of Honor. Look how big New Japan is getting. They're migrating into the United States. They're thinking about doing, a United States promotion now. You got Progress. You got all these independent promotions in the UK. Wrestling is starting to become cool. It might not be as big. It might not ever be as big as what it was. It's never going to be that big. But wrestling is an art. Wrestling, in the way that it's transforming now in modern day, is making wrestling cool again. It's not being forced upon by anybody. Wrestling is just going in a different direction, and it's opening up a lot of eyes on its own. It's not forcing anything upon anybody. You're there for the appreciation of the art. You're there for the appreciation of the talent and the men and women who bust their ass and bust their lives or risk their lives every fucking night. It's not anything being forced. The WWE is forcing, wrestling down your throat, or their form of wrestling. Meanwhile, they're the first ones to fucking keep a keen eye on everything else that's going on. They're the ones following the independents lead. It should be the other way around. WWE should be leading the charge on what wrestling should be, not the independents. WWE is keeping a close eye on everything that's happening. It's backwards. That's why I said in my Randy Orton video when he trolled everybody with those comments he made on Twitter, I fully believe that wrestling it will never be as big as it is, but at least what they're doing, you can see the appreciation of it, and it's got that cool factor. Watching that type of thing, it makes you, I wouldn't say proud, but you're not embarrassed to be a wrestling fan. You watch some things on WWE, you turn your head away and cringe. It's an embarrassment to be a wrestling fan when you watch some shit on WWE television. I don't get that way when I watch certain parts of the independents. I don't get that way when I'm sitting at House of Glory shows, but, they're right. They are right. It's got to be organic. It's got to be that organic cool. You can't force anything. It can't be a cookie cutter bullshit like WWE. That's why everybody loves NXT. That's why nobody has anything bad to say about NXT, because it's cool. It's cool to watch NXT. Most nights, is it cool to watch Monday Night Raw? Fuck no. Monday Night Raw is nothing but cringe, man. Time and time again. Moving on here, man. One note of one piece of information here for Takeover Chicago tonight. Jim Ross will be announcing Takeover Chicago. He's not announcing the whole show, but Tyler Bate will be defending the UK Championship on that show tonight against Pete Dunne. He will be announcing that match with Nigel McGuinness. So I just want to make sure you guys are aware of that. Moving on here with more news, man. I have news on Eva Marie, she who shall not be named, not returning to Total Divas, which means that Eva Marie will probably not be returning to WWE, period. There have been many rumors about Eva Marie and her current status with WWE. The latest report suggests that WWE and Eva Marie are mutually waiting for her contract to run out. Thank God, before departing ways with one another, or parting ways with one another, excuse me. So, according to a report from Mr. Ryan Satin of Pro Wrestling Sheet, Eva Marie will not be returning to Total Divas next season. With this news, people can pretty much confirm that Eva is leaving WWE. Also, their sources say that the production team for Total Divas are working hard to find Eva's replacement on the show from the current WWE locker room. With the way the landscape is for WWE and the women's revolution, why would you want to take someone who's in this revolution of wrestling for women and transform them into a diva? I don't know, man. Confirmed on staying to the show next season are Naomi, Natalya, and the Bella Twins. Charlotte is reportedly one of several WWE stars that have been interviewed for a potential role on the show. Yeah, take a heel Charlotte who has been born and bred into this business and turn her into a fucking reality star, right? Great. I don't like her as it is. I'm going to like her on Total Divas? No, I'm going to fucking think of her even less. This also leaves some question marks surrounding Paige on Total Divas. As many fans know, she's made a lot of headlines over the past year. We will have to wait and see if she will be on the show next year. It will be interesting to see what happens. Clearly, if Paige is not on Total Divas, then that just is a signal that WWE wants nothing to do with her. But Eva Marie, I think we're all in agreement here that her not returning to Total Divas is of no loss to anybody. If that means her leaving WWE, hallelujah. Praise the fucking gods. Eva Marie no longer on our television, man. You can go do something else in the form of internet porn or a fucking D-level movie that's going to hit the shelves on Walmart on some fucking random Tuesday, whatever the case may be. As long as you're not on WWE television, stinking it up in the ring. Because there's no room for you, the way things are going right now. Especially with this women's tournament, man. Can you imagine? Can you imagine a fucking an unbelievable Japanese talent in the form of this women's tournament just coming into the WWE and she's got to stand across the ring from Eva Marie? Are you fucking kidding me? Give me a break, man. Seriously, give me a fucking break. Moving on here, man. We got news on the original plans for Great Balls of Fire and changes to WWE's plans going into the pay-per-view. Actually, this is exactly what I just mentioned before. This is exactly what I mentioned before. Another report by Dave Meltzer from Wrestling Is Over Radio. This pretty much is documenting Strowman being out 6 months, but it really is going to be two months. So the plans right now are exactly what we discussed earlier. So the plans are for Strowman to face Brock Lesnar at SummerSlam. That's what Dave Meltzer is going with. You know, either Finn or Seth are now being speculated as the favorites to face Brock Lesnar at Great Balls of Fire. Strowman is expected to face Brock at SummerSlam. That's the plans. Clearly, we discussed that already earlier in this podcast. So moving on from that. Speaking of Finn Balor and the Demon King. What is going on with the Demon King, man? Are we going to be seeing the Demon King? Finn Balor was announced as one of the competitors in the Fatal 5-Way match at Extreme Rules. That will determine the next challenge for Brock Lesnar. You guys know that. He will face off against Bray Wyatt, Roman Reigns, Seth Rollins, and Samoa Joe. Since returning from injury on Raw after WrestleMania 33, fans have not seen the Demon King. Finn Balor's Facebook page recently teased that we could be seeing the Demon King persona at Extreme Rules, saying, "Come WWE Extreme Rules, it will be every man and demon for himself." This has got a lot of fans talking about the persona coming back for this match. We have seen in the past on NXT and on WWE's main roster that Balor only uses the persona in big matches and pay-per-views. Extreme Rules and a chance to win the Universal Championship back would qualify as a big moment. If Balor is going to challenge Brock for the Universal title, he's going to need all the help he can get. A Demon King persona could be WWE's way to add some extra spice into a Finn Balor-Brock Lesnar match. We will have to wait and see what happens. Again, you know, the rumor is Balor and Lesnar. I fully expect the Demon to be back. But, again, I'm not interested in a Finn Balor, no matter if it's Finn Balor or Demon King Finn Balor match against Brock Lesnar. I'm just not interested in it, man. I cannot see the offense and the offensive arsenal of Finn Balor doing anything against Brock Lesnar. At all. I really can't. You know? CM Punk was a different story. I mentioned this before. The Daniel Bryan thing we never got. I would have loved to seen that. The Finn Balor thing, I just don't see it. They could end up proving me wrong. You know? More than likely, they will probably prove me wrong. But, I mean, can you believe Brock Lesnar standing face-to-face with Finn Balor and fucking backing down or being scared or even having a threat thrown his way about losing the title? Well, come on, man. Unless WWE really wants to build intrigue and build this David vs. Goliath thing and build all this fucking drama where Balor is on the ropes reeling from a fucking 190-pound Finn Balor. I mean, give me a break. Give me a break. You know, when Lesnar's there, you got to book realistically. You book realistically with Brock Lesnar. And that comes in the form of a Samoa Joe or a Braun Strowman. Even Roman Reigns to some extent, you know? Even though I still don't think Roman Reigns is, you know, right for Brock Lesnar at WrestleMania. But I just don't see Finn Balor. I just don't see it at all. We'll see what happens. Maybe WWE proves me wrong. I don't know. I don't know what's going on. Anyway, we're going to end with this story. WWE's backstage feeling about the brand split so far with Raw and SmackDown. WWE officially split Raw and SmackDown live on July of 2016. A brand split is a good idea in theory because it allows stars the opportunity to take the ball and run with it. We saw that in spades last year with AJ Styles, who essentially made SmackDown Live his show. According to some rumors floating around, Vince McMahon and everyone backstage of WWE are happy with how the brand split is going. There are some rumors that WWE might want to differentiate Raw and SmackDown more moving forward. This would mean that if true, the company will try to keep things and make both shows feel different from one another. While it is unclear that WWE might want to differentiate Raw and SmackDown, the possibilities are exciting. It would be interesting to add or change championship titles or even change the sets of titles to make them feel more unique. It would make it a lot better if WWE played up the rivalry between the brands more as well. As far as the brand split goes, I was against the brand split, to be honest with you. But seeing all the talent that's on these shows, you know, it was clearly needed. It was clearly needed. I mean, I don't feel that it's special. I understand that it's needed because you can't have all of these guys exist under the same umbrella. You can't. You really can't. And there's more to come. And there's more to come. There's more superstars to be promoted in the coming months. You know? Obviously, it takes away from the women's divisions. Obviously, the tag team divisions are still struggling. You know, but you gotta take the good with the bad here. As far as the main event scenes on both shows, I'm very pleased with the main event scenes. I mean, SmackDown on most weeks isn't even using everybody to their full potential. We haven't seen Ty Dillinger. We don't see American Alpha. We haven't even seen Rusev yet. Lana is still to come. You know? Sami Zayn's not there every week. You know, it's doing good, but it doesn't feel special. They really have to build up tension between the brands. Maybe leading to one big pay-per-view, maybe a Night of Champions type pay-per-view. You know, maybe a War Games type pay-per-view or something along those lines. Not bragging rights, nothing like that. That's lame. Is Survivor Series going forward going to be the pay-per-view in which it documents the rivalry between Raw and SmackDown? But then if we get to that show and there's no tension between the brands all year, why is it going to be special, come November? They should play up the tension between the brands all year leading to that show. So when we get to that show, it feels special instead of just coming out randomly 4 weeks before Survivor Series and say, oh, Monday Night Raw hates SmackDown. There hasn't been any talk of any tension between Stephanie and Shane or Angle and Bryan. There's no talk about that. So what makes the brand split special? We know that it's needed. We know that in some way it's working and it's giving people opportunities, whereas before it was not. But what makes it special? That tension is going to make it special. Because come Survivor Series, if you want to build that Survivor Series, that pay-per-view up as the one time a year where Raw and SmackDown collide, it's aptly named, it would give more meaning to the traditional Survivor Series matches. And look at what happened last year. That was one of the best matches of 2016. Raw versus SmackDown at Survivor Series match. That match was fucking phenomenal. Almost went 1 hour. On top of that Goldberg-Lesnar bullshit. I think they really need to build up the tension between the brands all year and make Survivor Series special. That's just me. As far as differentiating the brands, I mean, you see certain aspects of here and there of how Raw is different from SmackDown. Just the camera work on SmackDown is different than Monday Night Raw. The graphics, the little statistics when the guys come out and make their entrance is different. We don't see that on Monday Night Raw. The announce team on the stage, the announce team on the ringside area compared to both shows. On the stage with Raw, ringside area on SmackDown. SmackDown has a more wrestling-oriented vibe to it. Raw is more entertainment vibe to it. So the brands are somewhat differentiated in certain aspects. But we even have this commercial nonsense coming in, the picture-in-picture thing, where we're going to see the commercial being blared in the corner of the screen while SmackDown is still playing in the background. So you guys get to see what is going on, or the commercial is going to be on the screen and SmackDown's still going to be shown on the air, so you get to see what's going on when the commercial is taking place. They're going to try and roll that out on SmackDown in the coming months. So that's going to be another way for WWE to differentiate SmackDown from Monday Night Raw. And if that goes over, we might see that bleed over on into Monday Night Raw. But the brand split is working out. I wasn't a big fan of the brand split. I am a fan of the brand split now. Still some aspects of the brand split, like the women's division and the tag team division, which, I still find to be their weakest points. The booking is always fucking bullshit, but it's working. And it's needed. With the amount of talent that's on both of these brands, it is needed. They just need to find a way to make it special all year round instead of just 1 month. Lead into Survivor Series and have that tension be built up all year. Throwing shade at each other left and right. Maybe on Talking Smack. That'd be a great foundation for that. Make some snide comments on the shows weekly. Something to build tension there so that it boils over at Survivor Series every year. That's just me. But I'm liking it so far. I think it's needed. Everybody's, happy with it. Vince McMahon, all his officials are happy with it. Let's keep it going, man. Another thing I don't like about it is the amount of pay-per-views that there are. Because some weeks we got, the pay-per-views that they overlap each other. Like it did with the Royal Rumble. I'm going to use this for example because this is the freshest one in my mind. With the Royal Rumble, From the Royal Rumble, WWE had to build SmackDown's guys for the Royal Rumble. And in the same time frame as they're building towards one of the biggest pay-per-views of the year, they had to build towards the Elimination Chamber. So they were realistically building towards 2 pay-per-views at the same time. That's not good. That's not good for the creative writing team, and that's not good for the way the shows come off, because everything feels rushed. And it just seems like they're just putting matches on a pay-per-view just for the sake of putting matches on a pay-per-view with nothing built up there. And WWE did the same thing with fucking Fastlane. Come on. We went from Fastlane right into WrestleMania. WWE was building towards Fastlane, but they were also building and trying to get things ready for WrestleMania. That part of the pay-per-view schedule I do not like. You can't be building towards 2 pay-per-views at the same time. You got to have these things breathe. You know, but it comes with the landscape. That's another thing WWE needs to work out. They need to consolidate, and they need to really think about doing pay-per-view and the schedule of pay-per-view better. That's just me. Another aspect of the brand split I do not like. But let me know what you guys think about all that. I'm pretty much done here, man. We'll be back tomorrow, same time, right before Backlash, with part 3 of Off the Script. Thank you guys so much for watching, man. Hope you enjoyed the video. Leave me a comment down below. Make sure you check out the sponsors. Check out the Patreon page, patreon.com/JD from NY206, audibletrial.com/offthescript, and barbershopwindow.com off the script for your t-shirts. Follow me on Twitter at JD from NY206, and please hit that subscribe button down below and the bell for the notification so you guys are aware of when I upload, man. I will see you all later tonight after TakeOver. Chicago, it's going to be a great show. Bobby Roode defending the title against Hideo Itami. And we also got that tag team championship ladder match between the Authors of Pain and DIY, man. Looking forward to that. Probably going to be the match of the night. Can't wait for it. I'll see you guys for the review tonight. Make sure you guys are aware and enjoy your Saturdays, man. I'm JD. Take care. Enjoy TakeOver, and I'll see you tonight after TakeOver Chicago. Talk to you later.